I managed to stay in my apartment for like a few months after being unemployed. I live in the street. I have to sometimes find a place where I'm going to eat or bath. My name is Dimakatso Innocent Efalao, and I was born and raised in a small township called Soekmekar in the northern province of South Africa called Limpopo. I've got an honors degree from UJ and then 8 years experience in the finance field. Come up with
Exapafet, it's your boy Nico. Welcome back to Nico Therapy Cuts. So today again we've got another guest that we're going to be interviewing at the same time cutting their hair. So we're going to be able to get to hear their life story. So please guys, welcome with me, my brother here. What is your name and where do you come from?
My name is Dimakatso Innocent Efalao, and I was born and raised in a small township called Soekmekar in the northern province of South Africa called Limpopo.
And how was your childhood growing up? How would you describe it?
Well, I was a very, like active child, yeah. I remember in primary school, I participated in almost everything except sports. So I'm not really a sports person. Yeah, so I was like really into, poetry, public speaking, debate, and so forth. Yeah.
Or it makes sense why you also why you participated in debates, because you're so well spoken and eloquent.
Thank you so much. I try.
So how was your household setup? Who were you raised by?
I was raised by my single mother, so yeah, and then my dad maintained me from far, but I was raised by my single mother. The setup was a two-roomed RGP house, in a small township, and then I grew up with my two other sisters, like most of the time. But then I think there's 5 of us.
From both your parents, or
No, just so they never married. So from my mom's side, so my dad has got I think he's got about 20. I'm just not sure.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right. And your relationship with your mother and your father growing up, how was it?
I think it was great, like just normal. And yeah, I would often sometimes visit my father, but majority of the time I was with my mother.
Where did you go to school?
So I started primary at Ichumeleng, a local primary school called Ichumeleng. Then moved to a secondary school called Ntabiseng, and then I felt the grades there weren't so great. Then I moved to another school that was performing better in the area called Spoloko Secondary.
Would you describe yourself as a smart learner?
Yeah.
So you were a smart learner.
I think I'm one person that doesn't deal well with failure. So anything that's put to me as a task, I manage, or I try to, do to my best of my ability. So yeah, but let's just say smart.
All right.
Yeah.
So you went to primary, and then obviously secondary, and then high school. So your high school experience, how was it? Was it a typical high school experience that everybody talks about? That high school was like my best, the best years of my life.
I think I started living the best years of my life in university. So the high school was, yeah, it was different. I felt I was cooped up and my personality wasn't really showing much. And then I was so concentrated on, academics. Yeah, and I was very active and I did really well, I remember when I was there, when I was studying, I didn't even know how I was going to get to university.
Yeah.
But which is what motivated me to stay indoors and study. And then boom, I ended up with like 5 distinctions and 2 Bs.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And in what subjects were those distinctions?
So I did commercial subjects.
Right.
So it was in economics, business studies, life orientation, maths literacy. So I did maths literacy and the home language Sepedi.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, you graduated from high school, and
Yeah.
then you went to varsity.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
varsity did you go to, and what did you end up studying?
I went to University of Johannesburg, and then I was there for 5 years. So I did my degree, my Bcom accounting degree, then went on to do my honors as well.
Okay,
So
so
I hold honors from the University of Johannesburg.
from the University of Johannesburg.
Yeah.
And how would you describe your university years as well?
Uh, yo, great, great.
I mean,
I,
it's huge, eh?
yeah,
It's close to Braamfontein.
yeah,
It's where like most young people are, where there's lots of fashion, there's
yeah.
lots of partying, like many things happen there. So,
Mm.
how would you describe your experience?
It was amazing. I remember even just the thought of having to come to the big city from Limpopo, coming here the first time and seeing all these buildings, the lights, the rush. But I was excited because it's something that I've always wanted to do.
Right,
And then in varsity, I was very social. I had a lot of friends,
right.
which was like totally different from, high school, because in high school, I only had like one friend and I wasn't that social. So I was a very social person. I used to, like a good party.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know how to dance, but I was always around, parties and stuff like that. Wherever there was like a good party, I was there. And yeah, and fortunately enough, I've never failed or subbed a module in
Wow,
university. So
wow.
yeah, those were the best times.
So you graduated from tertiary
Mm.
as a chartered accountant, right?
No, not really. So I did like the mainstream accounting.
Or the
So
mainstream
yeah.
accounting. So obviously, then after did you get work immediately after graduating from university?
Yeah, by the grace of God, I actually did. So after I finished my degree, I was like, let me go and do something more. I didn't feel ready to go for work, but immediately straight after my honors, I finished my honors in November. And then in January, I got my first job, which was in Durban,
Wow.
yeah.
And the transition from school to the workplace, how
Mm.
was it? How were you able to adapt from school
Uh,
to the workplace?
it was a bit hard. Hey, like it's totally two different worlds. In university, you are able to express yourself however you want,
Mm-hmm.
and then in corporate, when you find like if you find yourself in corporate, there's certain ways, like there's code of ethics, and there's certain way you are expected to act, and then your emotional intelligence also has to be practiced.
Mm.
And then yeah, it was a bit hard at first, but I must say corporate was also, as nice. But yeah, I feel like varsity had a bit more, freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there, let's say a student who's still in varsity or maybe a high school learner
Hmm.
watching this,
Mm.
um, if they want to know what is accounting, uh,
Yeah,
uh, please tell us more about the stream that you did
the
in
stream that I did.
university. Please explain it to them.
So I did the mainstream. So you either decide. I think then how it was set up at UJ is that you'd either decide whether you wanted to go the CA route or the like the professional mainstream route, and you had to have like 60%, I think, in your accounting 1B. And then yeah, the main subjects that you do, it's usually accounting, auditing, taxation, and financial management. It's not really a hard, degree to crack, honestly.
Hmm.
If you work hard, I mean, if I was able to be at all those parties and then I was able to get it.
All
But
right.
I think it also requires you to prioritize, like you need to learn to prioritize.
Sure. Manage your time also.
And yeah, but it's more than just numbers. I feel like a lot of people think it's just numbers, where you people punching numbers. No,
Hmm.
there's a lot of logic that goes into numbers and stuff like that. And then we also tap into a bit of law. I think there's commercial law that we do,
Wow.
and then there's also tax, which is mainly like you're learning like the taxation law of South Africa.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what was the fun part about your job?
The fun part about which, I mean, do you mean my first job or all the other, or just,
Well,
or something common in the career?
something common in the career.
Common in the career.
Like just working as a
I think
as an
it's
accountant.
I think the adrenaline that comes with it, and as somebody that likes to serve, I took it as an opportunity to serve others, having to produce like financial report. And, we've got this thing in accounting that it's common, it's called month end. So our deadline would start from, mostly like the first of the month up until maybe the 10th, depending on the company. And then when we are supposed to produce report for the previous month. So every time we'd promote the numbers, that's when, like that was the best feeling to say, oh, well, we did it. Yes, it comprises a lot of long nights, you sleep like very late,
Yeah.
and it's very complex and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But once you crack it and then you do it, it all those sleepless nights becomes, worth it.
Right.
And it's something that you can always go back and tap yourself and say, I did it. Yeah. And I also like the fact that it's also like integrated, like there's different, parts to it. There's like reporting, there's people that are into reporting, there's people that are doing analysis, some
Sure.
people are doing recording
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So yeah, it sort of felt like a big part of the world where people are just, owning their space, and then but then for a common goal, which is to produce reports. Yeah.
So, all right. So now, you are working. You've graduated from university. So, there's this thing called black tax, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, you are a black child.
Yeah.
You've now made it. You are working, and I'm sure that you're earning like really, really good, right?
Yeah.
So, did you experience this thing called black tax?
That's a very good question, and I think it's a bit emotional for me,
Hmm.
that one.
Also.
But because I am, a victim of black tax,
Hmm.
throughout my career, I remember, every time I would get paid with my last job, every time I would get paid, I'd even feel guilty of buying myself even a t-shirt or an underwear or anything like that, because a chunk of my money would go home.
Yeah.
I would think, if I'm here in Joburg and I'm eating this, what is exactly happening at home? And also, I mean, coming from the two separate families, like from my dad's side and my mom's side, so you can imagine I had to,
Provide for
provide for both. And
both.
then there's also siblings as well.
Right. Right.
Sometimes I didn't see it as black tax. I just saw it as, get your siblings to get where you are. Then it becomes easier, because I'm a firm believer that you win a race and then you help another to do the same. So
True.
I don't want my siblings to experience the same.
True. What struggles did you face during the time you were working,
Struggles.
moving from across like different companies, right?
Oh, I think sometimes it requires so much of your time then that you don't really get an opportunity to work on your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Other challenges would be that in a corporate environment, you deal with people coming from different backgrounds,
Right.
but that has also honed and brushed up my, people skills. Sometimes have to tell people things. You have to tell people things that they don't necessarily want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But I also used that as a way to learn to become more assertive. In that every time, whenever there's a situation that I have to confront that involves like two people, I have to get the full story
True.
and make sure that when I give feedback, it's constructive and not just piece patches.
Earlier on, we were talking about your unemployment, right?
Yeah.
So, would you please describe how you ended up being unemployed?
So it's a bunch of things. Hey, mental health being part of it. Last year, the whole of last year, I wasn't at work for majority of the time, and yeah, I nearly got like, well, I think the company that I worked for then, sort of, I think, wanted to board me medically. They started questioning whether I was capable, because they couldn't keep me on the job for a very long time. So then, and then we just decided, it's best that I resign to focus on my mental health. And yeah, that's what happened. But yeah, there have been things that might have exacerbated the situation
What
with,
things? Mm-hmm.
like maybe, like bad habits, which is also like a big part of mental health. People don't realize that addiction is also like a big part of mental health. So yeah, addiction is also part of a disease, and yeah, that's also part of it. But then there's other mental diagnoses that I've had. I've got like about 3 to 4 diagnoses.
Wow.
So the issue was, I mean, for them to keep me on the job, and whenever I was at work, I used to do like a great job. I used to be, I can confidently say that I'm great at what I do. I mean, the kind of recognition that I used to get from people that I used to work with was amazing. So, yeah, I really was doing well. It's just the issue was them keeping me on the job. But I think then it's because I was just going through an episode.
Right. So would you please go into detail about that there? You mentioned your addictions. You
Yeah,
also mentioned your bad habits.
yeah.
Would you please go into details about what were those bad habits that you were going through? Also,
Uh,
what addictions are you talking about?
So, sometimes when I've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes part of the struggles is that you make impulsive decisions, you know, and so with making impulsive decisions, could sometimes you get paid and then use all your money on shopping, or else, another, symptom of the borderline would be like, self harm, or distorted kind of personal, distorted personal image. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'd have a distorted personal image. And then also addiction, which is like your drug addiction. A lot of people that are struggling with that, they, you know, they struggle with addiction, which is why I believe. But this is something big also, that when you deal with the borderline, you also need to deal with the addiction part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I did admit then, when with my addictions, I mean, I went to rehab, and it's not a, it's not a secret that I went to rehab, and I would advise anyone, who's looking to get out of drugs or alcoholism to seek help in rehab. There's amazing places in Johannesburg, because I remember even with my last rehab, I haven't touched, drugs, like hard drugs. Yes, I still have a bit of an issue with drinking here and there, but it's also something that has to stop, because, I mean, as an addict, it's said that you can't use successfully.
So, what struggles now are you facing as somebody who's unemployed?
Obviously, you have to eat. Like, the cost of living is too high. So I managed to stay in my apartment for like a few months after being unemployed, just sustaining with my savings and my provident fund. But it wasn't enough, to keep the apartment. So I had to move out of my apartment, and then got no help from anywhere. So I ended up in the street. I live in the street. you know um, I have to sometimes find a place where I'm going to eat or bath, so go like few days without bathing as well. Yeah, and also like the mental part, where I'm thinking, what is my family eating back home as well?
Yeah.
Yes, I know I have to think of myself as first, but I mean, I used to like also provide and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, these are the things, and it's been hard also getting employment. Hey, it's been hard also getting employment. I mean, with somebody that has got like 8 years experience and honors degree,
Wow.
I didn't expect it to be this long to obtain employment. But here I am, in the street. And another struggle is that then it becomes even more hard, because if you are not clean, you don't have like internet and all of that, it's very difficult for you to market. Yes, you've got the qualification, you've got the skills, but how are you going to market? You don't have Wi-Fi, you don't have data, sometimes you don't even have a smartphone, to do these interviews or to apply, or money to even apply. So
Mhm.
yeah, these are my struggles currently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so would you please again shout out your qualifications? Maybe there might be somebody out there who's watching this who will hear about your qualifications and might be interested in giving you a job, right?
Yeah.
So please say your qualifications again.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I've got honors degree from UJ, and then I've got about 8 years experience in the finance field, so mainly in the TV production space, financial services, you know, entertainment and media. Yeah, these are the industries that I've worked, and also information technology. These are the industries that I've worked in,
Right.
and yeah, but it's mainly financial reporting part of accounting.
Right.
That's yeah most of my experience.
Hmm. So, how would you advise the younger you after everything that you have experienced up to this point?
I think I can't emphasize the importance of, self-awareness and working on your mental health. Um, now, yes, I am in the street, right? I haven't really felt depressed because I'm usually like very mindful of my thoughts and stuff like that. I wish I had, started this thing, very earlier as to it's important how I speak to myself, what I think of myself, doing
True.
affirmations as
True.
well.
Self affirmations.
And, the also importance of having a higher power. You need to believe in a higher power. There has to be something that you believe in as well. Meditation as well. I wish I did all these things like a lot then and never skip your medication. Peer pressure as well, succumbing to peer pressure as well, wanting to fit in. These are,
Hmm.
yeah, things
Um,
that I should have, red flags that I should have, been aware of.
being
Then,
aware of.
yeah, yeah.
How is the importance? What is the importance of faith to you right now in this phase of your life
Uh,
after everything that you've gone through?
yeah. I think faith is the ultimate important currently because it's what keeps me going. If I didn't have faith, as somebody that has attempted, suicide like 4 times,
Wow, really?
I would have done it now. But I've got faith and believe that this is just a story unfolding, and one day I'll win a race and help another to do the same, But I believe that I'm just being prepared, like I'm initiated into being the great that I am,
True, true. I
And
second
yeah,
that.
it's just a matter of time. And that's a faith. That's the faith that I have in God and my ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, considering where I've come from and the things that I've surpassed, I mean, faith is what keeps me to say that if I was able to surpass all those things, this is just also part of the resume, the life resume, to say
True,
it's also something that I've gone through, that I've done, and then one day I'm going to help somebody that's going through the same thing and say, hey, this is how I've navigated it,
true.
Yeah.
Hmm. So there's somebody out there
Mm,
who is also going through a very rough
mm,
patch
yeah,
or a tough time in their
yeah,
lives, right?
yeah.
So here's a platform. Please
Mm.
encourage them.
Don't be hard on yourself. Things happen, and nothing is permanent. It becomes dark. It becomes very dark before it becomes like very light. I always use the analogy of the sun to say that the sun always shines no matter what, no matter who tells it to shine or whatnot.
Hmm.
So keep going. You just gotta keep going. But don't forget to meditate. Don't forget to speak to a higher power, and ask for help, and vulnerability as well. I know if you are in the street sometimes because you look dirty, people don't really want to, talk to you that much. They don't want to give you opportunities and stuff like that because of the stigma of what's really happening in the street with people, the drugs and stuff like that. But sometimes say your story to somebody, you never know, who's going to help. So I'm going to say, don't be shy to be vulnerable, you know just get vulnerable and ask for help. Don't just ask for money,
Right,
ask for something that's going to get you,
right.
out of the street.
So my brother, after such a lovely interview that you've had, the last question: how would you like to be assisted?
I think first thing first, I just need to get employment. If there's anyone who knows someone out there, uh, that's looking for an accountant, and yeah, please shout. And then if people could also just share job opportunities. I am in the street. I'm not planning to be in the street forever, or I wouldn't ask for food and stuff like that. I wouldn't sit here and say, I'm asking for food, I'm asking for this. I'm just asking for an opportunity to get from where I am to becoming where I'm supposed to go, or just move back or bounce back into being, exactly where I was. And yeah.
My brother Innocent, thank you very much for such a lovely interview that we've had with you.
Yeah.
We have learned a lot about you, and I also hope that people who are gonna watch this, there's gonna be somebody out there, at least someone who resonates with your story, finds light in your story, and also somebody who's willing to help you, right? So thank you very much, my brother, for allowing us to interview you and also cutting your hair. Please let me show you how you look. Let me get my mirror, okay?
Okay, thanks.
So my brother, I don't know how old you are, right?
Yeah.
But I think you look 17 years. Please look at yourself, yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed. I look a bit cleaner.
Right.
A lot cleaner.
Yeah, you look fantastic.
But yeah, I also appreciate what you guys are doing. The platform.
Right.
I can't remember when last I had a haircut. Yeah. So I do appreciate, and then keep doing it to others as well.
All right, everybody. It's your boy again, Nico. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nico Therapy Cuts. We had such a lovely, wonderful interview with my brother Innocent. Guys, until next time. Cheers.
You're doing well.
Coming up next time.
If there's somebody out there and you hear this, please, I need a rehab. Okay, I acknowledge I need help. Youngsters out there, I want to tell you, don't do drugs. Take my advice. Your life is going to end up shit and in shambles. You will regret it. Don't. If you're doing it, get off it. And my name's V.
Right.
I'm from Josie. I live in Josie. People I do know, they don't want to help me because of the situation I'm in.